Alright, hello, this is Matthew Harms. In this short video, I'm going to be showing you how you can import an FPGA symbol from a pin file and then how you can manipulate that using subsequent pin files with changes in it and see how that all works. So first off, we're starting with this _1 pin file, and you can see we have pin names, we have pin types, and pin numbers. So we have a big selection of those. It's not that big of a FPGA file, but it's big enough hopefully for this example. So this is what I want to use just to start off with. So I have an _1.pin file, and that's what I want to use. So I'm just going to fire up some new library just so I can make a new project. And once that's up, I can go here to Tools, Generate Part. And under Generate Part, what I'm going to do is I'm going to point to that _1 file. So there's that _1 .pin file. It's a Xilinx pin file, and I'm just going to call that part once it's actually made FPGA routed, and I want to have it save it in this schematic library file. So here's the capture library file right here, schematic1.olb. The part within that schematic folder is going to be called FPGA_routed. It's a Xilinx pin file, and this is the pin file, the one that I showed you previously that it's going to use. I want to create a new part, and I want to keep all the pin numbers, and I think that's going to be good. So I'm going to hit OK here, and it's going to go through and bring that to this spreadsheet for me. And so this spreadsheet is something that we've seen before. What I'd like to do now is I'm just going to kind of split things up just for ease of viewing. Here I have channel A, receivers 0 through 7, and B 0 through 7. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything else and put it in on the second page just to kind of clean things up a little bit. So let's take all that there, drop down to the second page, or the second part, I should say, within that, or the second section within that part, and we're going to save that off. So now I should have a two-part heterogeneous device, and I'm just going to kind of focus on this channel A and channel B section in this little demonstration here. So there we go. There's our output. There's the part called FPGA routed right there. It's in that schematic1 library file. And here's the FPGA routed part. Here's the first section. So here's what we call the A section, and then the B section is over here as well too. So there's the big B section with all those parts. I'm just toggling between those by hitting Control N and Control B, and that toggles me between those. Okay, so what I want to do here in the first part now is I want to do a few graphical manipulations to just move this around how I want it to be. So I'm going to take these pins and give them a space in between there, just to indicate something custom that I want to do. I could move parts around as well too, but this should be enough to make sure that we see some changes in our subsequent iterations that we want to run. So there's some change. What I want to do now is I want to run the next version of my pin file through this and see if it updates the pin numbers correctly. So I'm swapping a bunch of pins in this next pin file, and I want to make sure that they swap. Let's hop off to the next pin file that I'm using. I'll just kind of show you hopefully right here so we can see both of them at the same time. So this is the next pin file that I'm going to be using. What I want to point out here is that I'm switching channel A and channel B, the first bit, the bit name 0. So this used to be channel A R0. I'm switching channel A R0 and channel B R0 around. So in the symbol I originally made it, channel B was AD31 and channel A was U29. Now I'm switching that. So channel B R0 is going to be U29. So these two pins are supposed to be switching as per this new updated pin file with new connectivity. AD31 is now supposed to be pointing to channel A R0. So ultimately I want to see those two pins flip. I want to see AD31 at the top and U29 down here. That's really the only change in this pin file. I'm keeping it simple so we can hopefully visually track what's all going on. So that's FPGA_routed_2. What I'd like to do now is update this file with the changes that I'm seeing there. So let's go back to Tools, Generate Part. I'm going to point to that _2 file that I was just looking at, and I want to update the FPGA_routed part. So this part right here in the schematic1.olb. I want to update pins on existing part in library instead of creating a new part. So I just want to update those, and I'm going to hit OK. That should go through, generate the same spreadsheet here. There's not much to really see there, but I'm just going to hit Save. And And now when we pop into the symbol here, we should hopefully be seeing those changes as I described. So this should be a reflection now of the text file that I see here. So here's the _2 text file, and channel B should be U29, which we can see that it is, and channel AR0 should be 8031, which we can see that it is. So that's great. Graphically, we can see that those changes have been made correctly. Also, it kept the formatting of my part. So it kept the A section here, it kept the B section over there, it kept my spaces. And if I had organized these nets in a different way, it would have kept that as well. Another thing is that it reports that in the session log as well too. So if you want to pop open the session log, you can see that it made a log file of those changes. So it modified pin name channel B R0 to have U29 and channel A to be 8031. So it logs those changes for us as well too. So we just saw there that swapping pins works. So you can swap pins around. What happens if you take pins away? So let's go to the third version of this. And in this third version, I'm just taking channel AR1 away. So I'm commenting out that line just to essentially take that pin away and see what it's going to do with that. So that should take this R1 pin here away, or it should at least tell us about that. So let's see what happens when I import that now. Let's go back to Tools, Generate Part. I'm going to now point to the _3 file, and I want to update the FPGA _routed part in the schematic 1 folder again. So I want to do that update. I'm going to hit OK, and it tells us there's warnings. So to take a look at the session log, I'll just hit save here to get past that window. There's actually nothing to see on the schematic. The schematic looks the same. It doesn't automatically take that part away. What it does do, or that pin away, sorry, what it does do is it goes to the session log, and it tells us that channel AR1A29 does not exist in that symbol. So if we want this warning log to be empty, which is kind of our goal, we can just delete this pin here, and we can save this. So schematic 1 is fine. Yeah. So I'm gonna update that part, close down the session log, and let's try that one more time. So let's do that again. Exactly the same thing. Now we made the change, so hopefully that goes away. So it's _3 FPGA routed, schematic 1, update part. Let's hit OK. I'm just going to hit save. And notice that there was no warnings this time. If I take a look at my symbol, it's just going to be a reflection of what I had already manually changed. But now if we take a look at the session log, it should be empty, and we can see that it is. So the session log is now empty. Okay, last thing that I want to take a look at is if we add a pin. So that was another question that I had. So let's see what happens if we add a pin. Here in FPGA 4, what I've done is I've added another pin. So this pin right here, channel AR8, so bit 8, I've added to that. I've given it a new pin number, which is AK33. That doesn't exist in the pin list so far. So I want to add that new pin to this pin file. That's what I'd like to do this time around. So it's going to be pretty similar to what we just saw last time when we deleted that pin. And we can verify that by just going here to, Tools, Tools, Generate Part, and I want to now browse for FPGA 4, so that's the fourth one. I want to update the same part that I've been working on the whole time, which is in schematic 1. I'm going to hit OK here, and it tells me again that there's warnings. So it's going to do the same thing for me. It's going to tell me that pins and pin file not on the parts. So channel A, pin R8, or I guess pin AK33 does not exist on the symbol, but it does in the pin list. So again, to fix that, we can just come here and let's fix that. So I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger, and I'm going to drag these pins down, and I'm going to make a new pin. So the new pin is channel AR8, and the pin is AK33, and that should be good for me. There we go. So there's AK33. We've now put that pin in. We saw the note here that it's different, so we entered it into our schematic, our symbol. And now we want to just rerun to verify that that actually does work. So let's run the generate part. And I'm going to take 4 into the same part, so this is the same as it was before. and this time it works just fine. So I get no errors or warnings, I suppose, this time, and the part is good. It's all updated. So there we go. Channel 8 is all in there. Channel A bit 1 is gone, and the other ones have been swapped around. Thanks for watching the video. Hopefully that helps explain exactly what you guys were looking for.